Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now, always a lot of times on this channel, we speak about things like, getting yourself together, getting your life together, things of those kind of situations, positivity and whatnot. I think one thing that is always important is a person having life management. And one thing that really helps with that sometimes is having a planner, a little planner organizer. And a lot of times people use their phone these days, but sometimes it's beneficial to be able to write things down if you're one of those people who likes to write things down. Sometimes it just helps, in a different way. But however you like to get yourself organized, today we're actually taking a look at this product right here. This is a planner, calendar organizer, budget type of book setup. And it's here for the year 2026. It goes all the way out to 2029 if you buy the other versions. This actually also helps supports the channel because this is a product that I created. So link's gonna be in the description down below for you guys to purchase this on Amazon. And I use this all the time, even though sometimes we will use our phones as well. I use this all the time. So what you're kind of getting in this setup is you get your calendar set up on the left-hand side, all of the days of the month, your basic grid setup. Then you have your monthly goals. I think this is important to kind of set that up as well for yourself. So you have goals, you have obstacles. So anything that you have that maybe you're trying to overcome for that month. The difference between that and say like goals, they're for the most part almost the same thing, but like maybe obstacles could be whether it's maybe a conversation you got to have with a person that you have to address an issue. Maybe it's something at work, something that you have to get off your plate in terms of something that's getting in your way of something or whatever the case is. And obviously the goals are the things that you're trying to achieve in the little note section there. And then you have your daily routine. Now, obviously, these are things that people already know, so they don't have to think about that. But maybe if you're just starting a routine that's new, maybe a workout exercise that you want to incorporate into your daily routine, you might say, make sure in the morning, this is what you have to do, or whatever the case is. It just gives you options. Maybe there's not something you would use, but if you want to just throw it in there because you're starting a new routine, it would be something that sometime when you see it there inspires you to make sure to achieve that. Then you have here for your weekly setup. If you need to write more details on each day of the week, you would just put what day of the month that is, and then just write more notes relating to it. And you got a few pages of that in case you need to add extra details for every day of the month that you saw in that first page of, in this case with January. Maybe you need more space. You just keep writing all the way, out here for what you would have just wrote in the little box on that first page. And then at the end of it, I use this actually a lot, monthly budgeting, writing out all your bills here that maybe you paid for the month. And that way at the end of the year, if you need to kind of add up certain things or see what you spent for the year, whether it's because you're budgeting to cut down on expenses, which is one thing we speak on this channel a good amount, managing your finances and not overspending, or if it's a thing where you need to add up things because at the end of the year, maybe you have to write things off or whatever the case is. You want to know what your total is of spending or whatever the case is, or you got to report that number to some place to get some kind of benefit. You're able to then go through everything month by month, and it's easier to add up than you kind of going over everything at the end of the year. Income is just the different things of where your money's coming in, or maybe you want to show what your bills is versus the money that's coming in. So maybe you're getting paid, maybe you're selling things as well, from your regular job, but then you're selling things as well. Maybe, a bonus check came in from somewhere, whatever. Maybe the government issues some kind of tax break thing and it allows you to go, okay, this is my full income for the month. These are my expenses, what I'm going to do. You got a little note section here as well. And then for that month, you got 2 pages of just generic notes that you may want to add for that month, or just kind of freehand, just certain things you have to write out. I did that as well when I was planning a trip one time and I was budgeting things out. And what I did was just use this as space to just kind of write out certain things that I needed to just freehand different things. So it was just kind of really almost like a scrap paper I used it for in that situation. And then you start to the next month, February. You go through all the months until you get to the ending. And after you get past the month of December, what you also then have are, and this is a little more old school, but I wanted to throw this in here for you guys, is your contacts. Now, everyone uses their phone, yes. And, that's just where we're at right now. But I think there's nothing wrong with having a couple of your main emergency numbers that you need to have written down in a book. That's a hard copy, because if you lost your phone, you could say, well, I got these numbers down. These are the ones I need. Maybe it's your family members. Maybe it's a specific, maybe a doctor's office, something like that you need to know the numbers all the time. Maybe it's your credit card phone numbers and stuff like that, because if you lose your credit card, now you got to call it. You don't know the number to call because it's always on the back of your credit card. So it's funny. You have those cards that'll say, if you lose your card, call this number. Well, it's on the back of the card. So I thought that was nice for the people who like that old school way. To write down your contacts. And then we also have this, and I think this is a big one as well for a lot of you guys, passwords. Now, granted, sometimes we do have to change our passwords. Often sites make you change them, but for the sites that don't make you change them and you have your password in there, you can lock this in, put in the site, put in the username, put in the password. We have a lot of things that sometimes we forget, and it's good having something where you can have all that information. And if you're the type who leaves this in a safe place at home, like you just have it at home, you don't take it outside that much, then you know it's all safe. If you like to have more than one that you carry with you and then one that you leave at home, there's that too. And it's just a good staple to have, I think so. So check that out, you guys. Like I said, it definitely also supports the channel. And in general, I think it's important for you guys to get organized. Even if you don't use a planner, be organized, you guys, with your finances, with your budgets, in terms of your savings as well. We've gone through that kind of stuff on the channel before. Get into that space. We've gone over those kind of things, money management, whatnot, and investment before in the channel, but you definitely got to get into that space where you find a way to help budget. I was speaking to a couple of friends recently, and they were telling me, different friends who were telling me things like, I really got to get on managing my finances, especially as to get later on in life. And they're like, you put that off and you don't address it when you're younger. And then sometime we start getting to that 30, 35 plus range, you start hitting a point in life where you're like, man, I've been slacking off with figuring out a plan. I've mentioned this in the channel before. At a certain point, sometimes, regardless of what point you are in your life, you might have to now sit down and say, I got to start tackling a plan for my future. There's no better time to do it than now. And sometimes you might need help with that. Find a way to organize everything you need to do. Even if the first part to starting off to kind of figuring out your budgeting is just writing things down. That's very important, because sometimes when you have all your stuff written down in front of you, it gives you a good sense of how much you're actually going over the expenses that you need. So in this case, if you went to the page that shows budgeting and it'll say bills and we go to the section where it says bills and monthly budgeting, bills and income. Even if you wrote down for yourself, and this is outside of the realm of even this book, if you just did it on paper in general, but you wrote down your income, how much you made for the month, and then you wrote down all your expenses throughout the month. And a lot of times too, we could do this by, we have our various accounts and most things are digital. So you can go back at the end of the month and trace all your things. Look at the app on your bank account. Look at your Amazon bill. Look at your Target bill. Look at your Walmart bill, because you can always go online. If you have like an account with them, when you scan it, it keeps track of that. Even when you buy something in store, you scan it and then it keeps track of it automatically on the app. So when you do that, you can take a look at all your stuff, write it out. And it's a good way of seeing how much did I spend versus how much was my income. And when you kind of do the difference, you start to kind of get a good sense of, did I need that thing? I know I was in the moment when I bought that extra coffee, but wait a minute, I bought, this month, maybe every day, you're like, I bought a coffee every day. Buying that coffee every day was, we'll say that 20 days out of the week, because say on your days off, you don't buy the coffee, maybe you make it at home. I got a calculator in front of me right now. Let's say you spend $5 on the coffee times 20, you're looking at $100. That's $100 you could have saved, where you say, you know what, maybe from now on, I will make coffee from home. I'll put it in a little thermostat cup and I'll take it with me. That was $100 you just saved. You know what I mean? So by writing it down, it gives you a better sense of looking at it in front of you and grabbing an idea of what it is that you're spending. Also, too, part of your planning. When you venture out inside the day, there's another way to kind of help you also save money when it comes to your planning. Put in your calendar days that you're going to be doing things. If you're like, I got to run around, do X, Y, and Z, group them all in the same day. So that way you aren't necessarily maybe burning more gas, burning more of your energy where you got to eat out more because you're doing things so differently and separately. Maybe if you knock out all your stuff in one day, that's less running around on the rest of the week that you're able to kind of sit home and, not spend as much money because you're not out as much, or maybe spend less gas because now you aren't, going out on this day and going on to that day. And sometimes when you go out multiple days, it causes you doing more running around than if you just did it all in one shot. Because if you go, say, to the bank that's 5 minutes away, and then a few moments from there, the next stop is about 5 minutes away from where the bank was, was close to where the bank was, you now could have just made that extra stop. But if you now waited to do it on a separate day, you now had to drive 5 minutes to get to the bank and another 5 minutes to get to the other place on a different day. You get what I'm saying? So things like that. So just be wary of that, you guys. Work on those kind of things. These kind of things sometimes help with that. So if it does and you're interested, you guys, please check this out. Like I said, links are gonna be in the description down below. And as always, you guys, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.